everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I am here to do the supermarket shopping tag. So I was tagged by Sarah from Steeped Books, so I will have her linked below as well as the original creator. And this is just such a fun tag. I can't wait to get into it. So let's go. Question 1, list. Before going book shopping, including virtually, do you have a list? Now, virtually, yes. I almost always will get on Thrift Books or somewhere with a list of books that I'm looking for. And then if I can't find them, I'll get them on Amazon or somewhere else. But I always get distracted from my list and may add other things. But yes, I do go in with a list. Physical bookstores, almost always no. I go in just wanting the experience of browsing. And so I don't normally have a list, and if I find something good, I find something good. I've always got a list in my head of auto buy authors or people that I want their backlist or just titles that I'm kind of looking for. But yeah, so virtually, yes. In person, no. 2, fruit and veg, good for the body and mind. Recommend a book that you felt improved your physical or mental health. So I've got 2 answers for this. Anxious for Nothing by Max Lucado. I have talked about this multiple times. Max Lucado is very hit and miss for me. This is a Christian-based book. It's really short, and it's just about anxiety. And so for those of us who struggle with anxiety, it's so reassuring to turn to the scripture and hear different stories and times and reasons why we don't need to be anxious. And so I bought that, I think, in every format. I know I have it physically and on audio because it's like a 4-hour audiobook. So just having it on in the background sometimes is helpful. So yeah. Then the other one is Happy Mom, Happy Baby by Giovanna Fletcher. Giovanna Fletcher, if you don't know who she is, I know she's a lot more popular in the UK because her husband, Tom Fletcher, is a part of a big band, and Giovanna does. She's an author. She writes a lot. She has a podcast called Happy Mom, Happy Baby, and that's both on YouTube and podcast, and so that is really good. And it's just about, she's just a very real life, sitting down with your friend. She is so famous, and yet she sits down and just has this conversation with you about motherhood and the hard parts, and she shares her vulnerable times and her hard parts, and I just love that. So those 2 have both really helped my mental health. Then tinned goods, or canned goods, I think as we call them here in the States. Regardless of the label on the can, the contents are all too often bland. What is your tin can genre? So this one I'm going to steal from Sarah and say classics. I'm just not a huge classics reader. Part of it is because I really just read to escape and read to have my mind be kind of off, if that makes sense. And so classics, a lot of times I have to work harder at understanding the language and the times and the context, and the style is not for me. But I have some classics that I really like, and I know a lot of people that love them, so not knocking the genre, they're just a little dull for me. Question 4, meat and fish counter, prepared by a skilled butcher or fishmonger, just how you want it. Tell us about a book that you feel was made just for you. So I have 2 answers for this too. I'm going to say Christina Lauren's Love in Other Words, just because it is all the tropes I like in one book. It has got second chance romance with a childhood romance coming back, and then it's got bookish people. It's got parent death, I guess, is a thing that I really like. I just feel that always gets me so emotionally invested when a parent is sick or something, just because I identify both as having a mom who has beat cancer and then as a mother myself. It always gets me in the emotion, an emotional sucker punch. So Love in Other Words was just one of the best books for me. And then the other one is After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one that I have reread multiple times, and I'm not a huge rereader, but this one is about a couple who they're kind of struggling in their marriage, and they decide to go a whole year without any contact. And so they split up, they don't divorce, they just do a year with no contact and see what happens there. And so that book, I feel just, again, always gets me emotionally invested. And then I just feel personally, I am a very, very, very independent person, and marriage is hard. Marriage, just letting somebody in and having somebody constantly there and having to share your life with somebody is very hard for me because I am perfectly content on my own. That being said, marriage is a great blessing, and it's an addition to life that is a good addition. And so this one just really makes me step back and be grateful and think about the things that are annoying and hard about marriage, and really just are those important? And after reading that book, it almost always gives me a refreshing like perspective on don't sweat the small stuff. And so I love that because I am the queen of stressing the small stuff. So that is another book that I just love, love, love. Number 5, baked goods. Bread is a staple for many around the world. Who is an author you can easily digest at any time of the day? And I have so many. I'm like my go-to is just going to be like women's fiction because Jane Green, Emily Giffin, Sophie Kinsella, like any of those that are just kind of women's fiction, sometimes with an emotional punch. Renee Carlino, Brittainy C. Cherry, I've read a lot of hers. Like any of those that are just romancy women's fiction, I love them. Lately, I was in a slump and picked up Debbie McComber, and that really helped. There's so many authors I love that I can really like fall into that genre hole and just stay in there for a long time. Question 6, the chilled section. Recommend a cool new author or book you recently discovered. So I'm going to say Brittainy C. Cherry because I did a author binge of her after reading Eleanor and Gray, and she's not a new author. She has like 12 or 13 books, but she is just new to me and I love her. I gave everything a strong 4 stars, if not higher, and she's just awesome. And then also Tilly Tennant, I just read Waffle House on the Pier or something like that. She is also not a new author by any means, but I just discovered her. She's got the cutest covers, and it was just the perfect mix of like fun, lighthearted, but also emotional, and not in the same way Brittainy C. Cherry is emotional. She's definitely more lighthearted and cute, but I really enjoy her book that I read, and so I would like to read more from her. Question 7, Frozen section. Name a book that gave you the shivers. So I am going to say In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. If you don't know, I live in Kansas and I have an overactive imagination. And so reading that book feels like too real for me. I don't live like in the country like the book is set, but it still just like feels too close to home, too true. And I like true crime in general freaks me out. And so having that one be so close to home gave me the shivers. Number 8, beer, wine, and spirits. Name one of the first books that made you feel like an adult. And so I'm going to say just James Patterson books in general because like I have said on this channel before, my grandmother was a huge influence in me becoming a reader, and she was always reading mystery stuff. And so once I picked up a James Patterson, I was like, I get it. I'm in the mystery thing. I'm doing the adult thing. I'm not in babysitters clubs. I'm like doing these intense adult books. And they're such short chapters that they just fly by. Like I felt so successful. And really James Patterson was the first time that I was like, I got this. I'm an adult reader. And I still love his books. Then number 9, sweets, candy. What genre author is your indulgence when you need a little treat read? So like I said before, women's fiction, kind of light and fluffy stuff is a treat read. It doesn't even have to be light and fluffy. I really like emotionally impactful too, but just women's fiction and also the Babysitter's Club books. And that's part of the answer that Sarah gave as well, but they are just such quick, nostalgic, sweet reads, and they really do stand the test of time. I love them so much, and so if I am ever feeling like I really just need a pick-me-up, I'll pick up one of those and read it in a day, and it'll get me kind of back on track. And it just is so exciting too, because I remember reading those as a kid being like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this club. And now having 2 daughters to be like, hey, this will be so fun to read with them and see those like light bulbs go off for them, and I just love them. So Babysitter's Club, I would say, is a comfort read. And then number 10, magazines and candy. If you read magazines or journals regularly, share some of the titles with us. And I don't read magazines. I'm so out of touch with pop culture and anything going on in the world, like as far as that goes. So if I were to pick one up, it would probably be either fitness related or recipes, because I really like both of those things. But no, I don't really read magazines or journals. Then number 11, checkout. Time to go home and unpack. Tag some shoppers on their way in. So I am going to tag Tia from Tia and All the Books, Nayema from Nayema Reads, and Krista from Books and Jams. So I will have all of them linked below, and that is it. That is the supermarket shopping tag. Thank you, Sarah, for for tagging me. I think that one is so fun. And let me know if you have a channel and do this, because I tag anybody who wants to do it. Those three are just because I had to pick. But if anybody wants to do this, please do it and share the video with me if you do. And if you don't have a channel, let me know your answers down below, because like I said, love this tag. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.